All right, guys, so what I want to talk about today is how I think about using bands in your guys' hitting programs. And if you guys can understand this concept, hopefully you can start integrating your own types of drills throughout your hitting sessions as you go. So basically my thought process is we want to use the bands in order to kind of over-exaggerate or help you really feel a movement pattern that's off. So, for example, we'll go through one or two examples just to help you understand. Let's say, for whatever reason, during your launch, your bat tends to get behind your body, right, and kind of lag back here. This isn't a problem for everyone who does it. Like Harper is a guy who gets pretty far back and just kind of turns from here, right? But it can be for some hitters. So let's say that this is something that we've identified is kind of causing you to struggle, or that you've identified as a feel thing doesn't feel quite right. So what we would actually do with that is go ahead and hook a band up. Let me get it to the right height. Go ahead and hook a band up. That's actually going to pull the barrel back. And anytime we use the band, or most of the time that we use the band in this type of setting, it's going to be in a slow motion swing. So what actually happens when we move our body super slow is that our body has to gain awareness around what you're doing because you're moving so slow. So if you think about a swing taking a full minute to actually unfold, right? It's going to be extremely slow. But what you'll notice throughout that minute is that you can actually really feel and understand how your body's moving throughout that swing. So by moving super slow, it's going to then transfer when you're moving really fast because you're building that awareness. Daniel Coyle in the Talent Code talks about this quite a bit, where he says, you know, in a lot of the hotbeds that he went to, something you notice that the athletes move super slow in their sport. So that's how we're going to be moving when we're integrating these bands. But to go back to our example, if you're having a problem with your hands staying actually back behind too far of your shoulder and kind of getting disconnected throughout your turn, what we'd actually do is hook a band up to your bat here, then have that band pulling you back. So what this is doing is forcing you to fight forward a little bit against that band so that you can really feel, if you don't do that, it's going to really over-exaggerate that flaw that you might have. So as you go through your slow motion swing, you're going to have to fight to keep that barrel or your hands in the barrel in the position that you want, and to really fight and not let the band pull you back. And the more tension that you can put on the band and actually kind of work against, the better, or the more feel you're going to create, the harder your body's going to have to work, and the harder your body has to work, the better it's going to remember it. So that's just one example. Let's say you have a problem throughout your turn where you lean back throughout your turn. So if you're centered when you land, as you turn, we want you to stay centered, right? If you have a problem with leaning back, now we actually want to over-exaggerate that with the band. So we could go ahead, wrap a band over your torso here, put it right under your front shoulder. And if you have a strong enough band, you're going to feel that band really pulling you back, right? So now, when you get into the position in which you'd land, this band's trying to pull you back, so you have to resist that and keep your midline straight, right? So that as you turn super slow, right, if you're taking a minute to actually execute that turn, you're gaining incredible feel in terms of what it feels like to go ahead and execute your stride or your turn where your midline stays centered instead of leaning back, right? So that's just another example. But if there's something that you're struggling with in your swing, something that we talk about, if you send me a video and we discuss something, or something that you just feel in your batting practice, you're like, well, I'm missing, like I'm slicing a lot of balls, so I think barrel is really extending out in front too early, and then I'm just cutting, right? In that instance, we'd want to pull the barrel forward, so then we have to hold it back throughout our turn. But whatever you notice, the band and slow motion swings are an easy way to address that, to be able to feel around what we actually want to have happen.